Hello and welcome to Salty About Health. My name is Dalaney and I'm here with my mom and co-host, Mary. So Mom, why are we salty about health?
Good question. It's because both of us have had struggles, some more serious than others, and no one showed us simple ways we could jump into the driver's seat and take control.
And why are we sharing our views with our listeners?
Well, because we want our listeners to realize that it may take time, but with some simple knowledge about health, they'll be able to make a few changes and dig deeper to take control of their well-being and live a more vibrant life.
That's fantastic. But right now, before we get into all of that, we just need to do some housekeeping. Here we go. This is an opinion-based podcast. This is not in any way offered as a diagnosis or treatment for any disease, illness, or infirmity for physical or mental condition or any other condition you may have. We are not doctors or practitioners of any kind. Persons needing medical care should obtain it from a medical practitioner. So, consult your practitioner before making any health decision. The opinions offered here in this podcast are ours alone. Again, we're not doctors, and the banter you're going to be listening to is our view and our view alone. Okay, that's done. We, of course, also want to have an open dialogue with our listeners. So stay tuned to the end of the episode, and we'll let you know all of the ways that we can connect. Welcome, everyone. We are back for episode 32. Today, we're going to talk about aluminum. Yes, for most of us, aluminum foil has been a kitchen pantry staple throughout our lives. But this malleable metal might not be as harmless as it appears. Bum, bum, bum.
That's right, Delaney. However you pronounce it, aluminum or aluminium, we have all most likely used it in our kitchens at one time or another. A lot of times people will line their baking pans with it to make cleanup easier. Some people put it on the grill before they grill burgers and steaks, and others wrap their meats in it before they put them in the freezer. Our society has become very reliant on aluminum. The sad thing is that I think most people are unaware of the correlation between aluminum and diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Past studies have demonstrated that effects of aluminum on the human brain, and most studies have concluded that patients with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease have elevated levels of aluminum in their brain. So today we are going to talk about the dangers of aluminum. And we pulled a lot of the information from an article by Jill Carnahan. She's an MD, which of course we have linked in the show notes.
Yeah, and today we would like to make our listeners more aware of the health risks associated with aluminum. And of course, today's information will help them make healthy changes in their life. So if they are concerned about their aluminum exposure, they can take steps to improve it.
Yes, that is important because research has shown that aluminum can produce toxic oxidative stress in the brain, as we mentioned. A brain autopsy study of elderly persons found them to have aluminum levels 20 times higher than a middle-aged comparison group. The Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, recognizes aluminum as one of several metals known to affect our neurological system.
Okay. And I will just geek out a minute here to talk about aluminum and define it for everyone, because it is something that my last job pretty much I used all the time.
You didn't tell me that. So did you
aluminum?
Detox? Yeah.
Well, no, not aluminum foil though, but like our parts are made of it.
Yeah, but you were around it and you breathed the dust.
No, I was in an office.
And the machinist.
Yeah, my interaction with it is like it was a shape on my computer screen.
Oh, okay. But maybe you should go back and warn the people who actually work with it.
There's not a lot of people left there, but yeah.
Oh, whoops.
But still, so, and I mean, it's used in manufacturing, but of course, most of us come in contact with it in our kitchens on a regular basis. So aluminum is a silver white metallic element. So the color that it is as foil is pretty similar to what it is as like a big block or anything else. It is very light in weight and ductile and malleable. That's why, for machining purposes, the industry loves it because it's lighter than steel. It's not as strong, but like in some cases you don't need the strength of steel, so you can get by with the aluminum and you have the added benefit of it being lighter weight. It is not readily corroded or tarnished, another big plus for everyone using it. And it is combined in nature in igneous rock, shale, clay, and most soil. It's used in alloys for lightweight utensils. So when we're eating, castings, airplane parts, or space parts like I do, etc. Really, I mean, it's used everywhere. So its abbreviation is ALUM, ALUM. I usually just abbreviate it AL at work, and we all know what we're talking about there. The symbol. Its atomic weight, if you're curious, I don't even know this, 26.98. And the atomic number 13. I didn't know it was over there with the metals, but besides that, I had no idea. Specific gravity, 2.7 at 20 degrees Celsius. So there you go. There's your chemistry lesson for the day. What you're going to do with that information, no one knows.
Well, I had when I was stationed in Korea, I went to a factory where they did aluminum and it was really cool. And they showed them, and they flattened it and it came out in huge sheets and rolls.
That's so satisfying and cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
What did I went somewhere. It wasn't aluminum. I think they were like weaving something. I don't know, or if it was just, but it was just like big rolls of something. But I think it was more of like a papery kind of material. But it was really satisfying to watch them like roll up these giant rolls, and like everything was like straight and like wasn't ripping, and it was just very pretty.
Yeah, it's very cool. No, it's amazing how they come up with these huge machines that do all this.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, aluminum is a silvery white metal found abundantly in nature in things like soil, mineral compounds, and rocks. In fact, aluminum is the third most common element on the planet, making up approximately 8% of the Earth's mass. While aluminum is naturally present in abundant amounts, you'll never find pure aluminum in nature.
Yeah.
And that's because aluminum is highly reactive, meaning that aluminum by itself readily undergoes chemical reactions, and it needs to combine with other elements to be stable and content. Aluminum commonly combines with other elements like oxygen, fluorine, and silicone. But thanks to modern technology, we are able to isolate aluminum, and it can be used in countless products and industries. So while aluminum is highly useful, this highly reactive compound can also have some not so useful side effects on your health.
Yeah, that's really true, because aluminum has no function in the human body. So I know like our bodies are made up of carbon and water and stuff, and they always say like trace elements at the end, but I'm assuming aluminum is not part of that trace elements bit. So exposure can lead to an accumulation in your tissues where levels can slowly rise and begin wrecking.
Reeking.
You wrote reeking. No,
That's how
it's wrecking havoc though.
Actually, when we were growing up, we always said reeking.
Oh,
that's how we used to say it when we were young. But hey, I just learned that, someone was giving a lesson on the radio about, what is that, TikTok? And if you cap, it's a lie. If you don't cap, it's not a lie, or something. And the words that they're using, it's like, totally different. And I'm like, wow, that's really weird. It's like that one book your grandmother had when she was young, like Valley of the Dolls or something. And it had, I think that might be it. And they had a whole vocabulary in the back, like a dictionary of what all these weird words they made up meant.
Oh, they had that in Watership Down. You sure you're not thinking of that?
No, I did
Okay,
read
that
that,
also
but
had a dictionary in
yeah,
the back.
but I just thought to myself, this just is not worth reading because that's just use the word. I don't,
That's
it's a made up
hilarious.
language. I don't need it. But anyway,
Yeah.
so TikTok has its own language now,
Okay.
kind
I
of.
mean, that makes sense.
But you're getting kind of old for stuff like that. So
Well, I've never had a TikTok, but I am an Instagram person because I like
yes, you
pictures
are.
of other things and I like looking at pictures. I don't videos. I'm usually somewhere where I can't have the sound on, so it just loses its effect to try to watch videos. Anyways, I am an old crotchety person, but I still say wrecking havoc. I've never heard
Wreaking havoc.
wreaking. It's EA. Why would you?
I don't know.
Okay, well,
We'll have to
anyways,
look that up. But
the
I'm even
levels
older.
slowly rise and they create havoc in your
There you go.
body.
But I'm older than you and I'm more of a Twitter person. You're an
You
Instagram.
are. I
I'm
hate
Twitter.
That's well, I just don't. I just don't like listening to people's problems sometimes, and I feel like that's all they do on Twitter is complain. I don't know. I don't have one, so I can't actually speak to that. But that is my opinion. So that's why I look at pretty pictures on Instagram. So, aluminum toxicity can have a wide range of damaging effects at the cellular level. So, once aluminum begins building up in your body, it can cause cell damage by triggering inflammation and oxidative stress. It can cause immunosuppression by stimulating immune cell dysfunction. It can disrupt the synthesis, formation, and action of vital proteins and enzymes, impairs critical cellular functions like glycosis and the Krebs cycle. Krebs. There, see, that doesn't have a double E, so I will agree with you on that. Krebs cycle, which is the sequence of reactions by which most living cells generate energy during the process of aerobic respiration. Promotes the proliferation and migration of breast cancer cells. Boo. Induces teratogenesis, process by which congenital malformations are produced in an embryo or fetus, which can cause birth defects. Also, boo. Interferes with the absorption and metabolism of essential minerals. Boo, that too. Disrupts cell membrane permeability and receptor function. It can cause hormone imbalances involving parathyroid hormone, testosterone, estradiol, norepinephrine, cortisol, thyroid hormone, and insulin imbalances. It also inhibits cartilage and bone formation. So just lots of boo, no, don't like it.
Yeah, with such extensive and detrimental actions at the cellular level, it's no surprise that chronic aluminum poisoning has been linked to some serious symptoms and health conditions, some of which are pulmonary effects, particularly inhalation, has been linked to conditions such as pneumonia, pulmonary fibrosis, and asthma. Cardiac effects, which it has been linked to congenital heart defects, inflammation, and dysfunction of the myocardium, as well as cardiovascular thrombosis. And aluminum can also hinder the function of your red blood cells, inhibiting the formation of new cells and causing anemia. It can have gastrointestinal effects where it interferes with your intestinal microbiota while increasing intestinal permeability, which is impairing intestinal barrier function and decreasing digestion and absorption. This can also trigger an immune response that promotes intestinal inflammation, leading to inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis. Toxic aluminum exposure can also lead to neurological effects, Accumulation of aluminum in the brain and nervous system tissues promotes oxidative stress and amyloid deposition. So that which can lead to neurodegenerative and neuronal necrosis. It has been linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, encephalopathy, Parkinson's disease, dementia, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is ALS, multiple sclerosis, MS, and autism. It can cause muscular skeletal effects like neurodegenerative conditions, which affect the nerve supply to muscles, causing the muscles to undergo denervation, atrophy, and become dysfunctional. Aluminum also disrupts mineral uptake and cellular proliferation, which can lead to bone diseases such as osteoporosis. I think that was our last episode. Osteomalacia, rickets, exostosis, a lot of osteodystrophy, and osteitis fibrosis. So it can affect the reproductive system and impair fertility, as well as increase the risk of fetal complications like low birth weight and heart defects. It can cause oxidative damage to your kidneys and liver, leading to tissue degeneration and necrosis, and associated biochemical imbalances like elevated blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, etc. And it has been found to increase the risk of breast cancer by acting as a metal estrogen or a compound that mimics estrogen. This can negatively influence the biological characteristics of breast epithelial cells and lead to the formation of cancerous cells. And, saying all that, there is, if you go to a functional medical doctor, you can take a metals test where they inject an IV into you, like EDTA, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it releases all the metals from your body. And then you do a 24-hour urine test, and then they test that. They can see what you're high in. And I did that. And I was high in there was a few, one being tin, and oh my, I forget the other one. One's in rat poison or something. I don't know, which I don't use, but so there were 3 that were extremely high, and I took sulfur for 2 years, and my metals went down because sulfur helps your body methylate out metals. So if you eat high sulfur foods, that's always a good thing. I think onions and garlic, things like that are high sulfur.
Yeah.
So if you look at that.
But also the sulfur thing, because I did the same thing. I didn't get tested before, so I don't know what. I'm sure I was high in something. I'm sure everyone.
Probably, with your work environment, anything.
Yeah, apparently.
Cadmium from exhaust from cars, things like that's heavy metals.
But I mean, the other benefits of the sulfur was just it gave me a lot of energy. I started taking it before volleyball to give me an edge. I was like, this is bordering on illegal. I don't know. Get a whole boost before I go. It's just my body's ooh, so fresh and clean. I don't know. So
yeah, but I always thought it detoxed you from metals, but then I was listening to a chemist once, and he said it just actually opens up the pathways to help you detox.
Okay. I was sweating it out.
That you can sweat metals out. The infrared sauna. Remember, we did an episode on that. Sauna. So that's good. But definitely eat, if you can, high sulfur foods, because that will get the metals out to help you detox. And we pick them up from so many things, just car exhaust has cadmium. Your flu shot has aluminum, is it aluminum? So they do this because your body can't, has a hard time detoxing. So as far as vaccines, they put these things in there so it stays in your body. But anyway, your work environment, it doesn't matter. You pick up metals from the water, from whatever. So it's always good to think about that. And you can do, if you can't afford one of the IVs, because you have to get with a doctor, you can always do one that's a hair analysis, which is fine, but it's old because it's in your hair, and hair may take a long time. but those you can find on the internet, and you cut
Okay.
your hair and you send it in and it'll tell you the heavy metals that they find in it.
Okay.
And but that may not be as accurate,
Yeah.
but it's something.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a good place to start. But so, I mean, as we're, talking about all this random stuff, just let's tell the listeners how to avoid some of those high levels of aluminum, just like talking about some of the most common places you'll probably run into it, or at least we've run into it. So, aluminum is the primary component used in many materials we use to store and cook the food we ingest. I mean, it's, aluminum foil, it's just so nice in the oven and stuff because it doesn't get as hot as the food, so you can manipulate it and do what you need to do. So, yeah. But so these are some of the ways it's incorporated into our foods. Obviously canned foods. So, if you can maybe cut down on how many canned foods and try buying frozen or in glass jars. Yeah, especially like I personally don't like the taste of canned veggies anyways. Like I'd rather have the frozen ones. So if you are buying canned, like maybe try frozen and see, you might even just like the taste better anyways. Baking pans and dishes. So yeah, I mean that's usually metal, right? But try using glass baking pans and storage dishes. Shout out to Pyrex. They make a great line of glass storage containers of all shapes and sizes. So I think mom and I both bought that variety pack when it came out.
And
Um,
9 by 13 baking pans are easy to find, Pyrex and stuff. And
oh yeah.
you can
Oh,
go
just
to,
go
yeah,
go down to your local thrift store. Like go
exactly.
to your local grocery. I mean, they sell them at the grocery store and they're like,
Yes.
yeah, the Pyrex stuff or even the off-brand Pyrex is like
Oh,
very
yeah.
inexpensive. And it like if you just clean the pan when it's still kind of warm, like right out, like you cook some stuff in it, and then like if you clean it out when it's still warm and don't let it like sit there and harden, it's easy to clean. Like it's not as easy as just throwing away aluminum foil, but it's really not that bad.
What I find
Or throw it in
is,
your dishwasher because it's dishwasher safe because it's
yes,
glass.
what I find is I do, apparently I let it harden. um, but after I empty the grease out and the rest is, hardened, I just fill it with a little water and I get those stainless steel scrubbies. They're, they don't have any soap or anything. It's not like,
Hmm.
it's not like steel wool. They sell them in kitchen stores. They have the copper and
Okay.
they have the stainless steel. And you just rub that on real quick and it
Hmm.
takes everything off.
There you
And it
go.
doesn't leave any scratches or anything for that. They're
Nice.
amazing. I saw them at a friend's house
Oh,
and
that's
I had
cool.
never seen them before. And I thought, this is amazing. It's kind of like I had never seen that before because it takes everything off it easily. And I remember the first time I went to college and I did my laundry, and your grandmother always used powder detergent. And so, if it was colder water, it would get. So I saw someone using liquid, and I remember thinking, why didn't my mother ever tell me about that? It was so much
Ah!
easier.
That's hilarious. So aluminum foil, we've been talking about that a lot. So try to use it sparingly. I mean, sometimes you have to, but if you do have to wrap something up, try to use plastic first, maybe like the glass containers before, defaulting to aluminum. So I do have a friend whose family struggles with plastic wrap, so they use aluminum foil out of convenience. So when I am with them, I use the plastic wrap for them because I can manage it. But you can also buy the plastic wrap that has the little slidey cutty thing on it. So there's really no excuse
That's the worst
for
kind
them.
though. I had one of those. I got out
The slidey
like
ones.
Walmart. Yeah. And I'll never get it again. It just
Oh,
like
it,
adheres to the sides, this and that, itself. And I find the cheaper versions, just come out.
don't work as well.
Yeah, they don't work as well. So it's very easy to use them. But I'm like you, if I have leftovers, I will put it in a glass
Yeah.
bowl. But if
Yeah.
I
Cause like,
have to wrap something for the freezer like meat, I do it
mhm,
in plastic.
yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, honestly, I'm putting it in glass because usually then, like, if you have a big dinner and then need to save it for leftovers. I eat leftovers for lunch. So I'm just putting it in the glass containers in like single serving sizes anyway. So then I can just grab it for the next day. So like, you know, you can start combining your meal prepping into this too and be cutting out all that aluminum.
Yeah, that's great. And it's
So,
better for the environment too.
yeah, the two. And then, of course, there are aluminum cooking and eating utensils. So try to get stainless steel if you can. Again, yard sales are great. Like,
It's very well, sometimes frightening when you go to thrift stores or the Goodwill and you see some of their old pots and pans and they're aluminum.
oh yeah,
And you
those
just
are,
you
yeah.
just want to just buy them up and throw them out because that's not good. I mean, you're using heat, you're using a lot, and probably like tomato sauce, which probably leaches out more aluminum. So yeah, either the glass or the ceramic or the stainless steel pots and pans or cast
Yes.
iron, you know.
Cast iron's cool. Yeah. And then cast
Yeah.
iron, you can put that on your grill too.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I think so. I mean, it's hot. You gotta like have a hot hand for it.
Okay, so that's like
don't
a
just
disclaimer.
touch
But we
it.
don't really know if you can and if it
Well, you
cracks.
can use, no, I don't think it would crack.
Call Dalaney.
I think it would just burn your hand like it is. You're
Okay.
putting metal over a heat. So like be smart, please, about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like when you take your Pyrex out of the oven, you can't just take the
No,
meat
you
out or
can't just
whatever and
touch
put it. Well, you can't put it underwater because it will crack
Ooh,
because it's
yeah.
cold, you
Yeah.
know. Or going if you prep something in Pyrex in the fridge, you're gonna have to let it chill out in the room temperature for a little bit
Yes.
before putting it directly in the oven.
Yep.
Unless you want to hear a
Are
big pop.
you speaking from experience?
No, other
Okay.
people.
Oh,
But
okay.
I did my, you know, my well, your uncle was an engineer and I learned young that things like that could happen.
Yeah. Well, he saved you from ruining your
Yes.
windshield, right? Yeah, he did. I'm gonna
It's
call you out on
embarrassing.
that. Yeah, he did.
He did. I know I was late for something and could drive and your grandmother was home and we were the only ones. And I guess your grandfather went to work and stuff. And where I lived in Southern California, there was rarely any ice or anything. And that's where I grew up. So I had no idea. So I went out one day and there was ice on my windshield. So I thought, this is, you know, as a 16-year-old, kind of bratty, this is really annoying. Let me go heat up some water and toss it on there.
Which I love how you thought that was faster than like scraping it with
Well,
the defrost on.
we didn't have scapers. It would have had to been like a
you
credit
didn't even
card.
have defrost in the car though?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wanted to leave. No, yeah, really. I just wanted to leave. And
Yeah.
so your grandmother was talking to your uncle who was in college at the time and said, oh, well, she's just going to do this. He's like, well, she didn't even know anyway. And he's like, no, don't tell her not to do that. Oh, I would have been in so much trouble with your grandfather. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you would have shattered the
Crack.
windshield. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But anyway, so I guess now though you grew up in a cold climate, so you know what to do.
Oh yeah, if you're in New England, you just like throw the defrost on and then scrape only the driver's side of the windshield, and you're like, man, the rest of it will make it by the time I get to the highway, and you just go.
That's pretty sad. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Or well, it's funny because I love when it's like kind of melty ice and it's like not really there. Like a New Englander was just like, that's what windshields are for, like whoosh whoosh, and like get rid of it, even though if it scrapes a little bit they're just like, it's fine. But then you see like all the southern people like, oh my gosh, and like scraping like the little like when the frost is like still kind of like star pattern, like not even connected, they try to scrape that, and like the New Englanders are like, well, that's stupid, and they just like wipe it off with the wipers.
That's funny. Oh my. Okay, so and food isn't the only place you can find aluminum. It is used in lots of products, and my guess is that listeners are not aware of a lot of these products. So a few examples are cosmetics. Aluminum is often found in products like deodorant, toothpaste, lotions, creams, where it's readily absorbed through the skin. But we know we like Pacifica, which sells all that and has no aluminum.
Paraben free, vegan, if you want to get really into it.
Yeah. Food, aluminum may be added to products like baking powder and soda, flour, anti-caking agents, processed cheese, and coloring agents. In fact, it's estimated that the average adult in the United States ingests 7 to 9 milligrams of aluminum in their food every day. So eat those high sulfur foods. Okay, and drugs. Aluminum is used in medications like antacids and aspirins. It's even used as a component in vaccines.
So obviously, I mean, just listening to that, we will never be able to entirely avoid aluminum exposure, and we know that. So there are some simple and effective ways that our listeners can protect themselves from this potentially toxic element. This way, you can lower the number of toxins coming in while simultaneously enhancing your body's ability to properly detox. So, you can eat a diet that is high in fiber and includes apple pectin. This feels very specific, Mom. Why apple pectin?
They sell that actually. You
Okay.
can buy that online, and a lot of the anti-cancer people use the pectin. And
Okay.
yeah.
But it has to be apple pectin.
Well, I do know they sell the citrus too.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, cool. Using stainless steel, glass, or iron cookware, which we've covered the gamut of those. Stainless steel is the best choice. Beware of any product containing aluminum or dihydroxyaluminum. A hair analysis can be used, like Mom said, to determine the level of aluminum in your body. And research has shown that the longer you cook food in aluminum pots, the more those pots corrode and the more aluminum is absorbed into the food and hence into the body. Aluminum is more readily dissolved by acid, forming foods such as coffee, cheese, meat, black and green tea, cabbage, cucumbers, tomatoes, turnips, spinach, and radishes. And acid rain leaches aluminum out of the soil and into drinking water. So filter your water.
yes. You may want to filter your water, investing in a high quality water filtration system, because it can be essential when it comes to reducing your consumption of aluminum and other toxic compounds. Some of the best and most thorough purification systems on the market are the Berkey water filters, which a lot of people use.
Okay.
One of your uncles has that. The AquaTrue, I have that. It's a counter. You have it on the counter, and it's basically reverse osmosis. And the clearly filtered water filters, which I have never actually heard of, so I haven't looked that one up. Anything in if it's reverse osmosis, just remember you're taking absolutely everything out of the water. So it's basically dead water. So you can add maybe some trace minerals or something back to it. So you're not just drinking dead water, basically. So again, focus on fresh whole foods, because processed foods are significantly more likely to contain elevated levels of aluminum and other toxins. Build most of your meals around whole foods like fresh produce, high quality proteins, and healthy fats. But saying that, I don't know if it's further down, but remember, depending on the soil, because if you have, they use aluminum in pesticides. So if it's not organic, or it's just, I think tea is one, I want to say, not totally sure. And I know rice does too, takes a lot of the heavy metals out of the soil and puts it into, the rice or the tea.
Oh, okay.
So they can be full of heavy metals. So just, be careful. So look for aluminum free when you buy products. Look for things like aluminum free baking powder. Use aluminum free cookware and containers. And be mindful of the products you use. Aluminum in deodorant and other products are readily absorbed through the skin and can significantly contribute to aluminum levels, since they're typically used on a daily basis. Offer aluminum-free deodorant and beauty products. That is so important.
Yeah.
That and lead, they put in women's, like their mascara and lipstick. It is full of heavy metals. And I just saw an article the other day. I think they're finally going to try to mitigate that a bit, but still, if you go with all natural.
Yeah, and I think what did we did an episode like what's in your medicine cabinet or something, and I went a little ham with it with my picture, but I know we talked about the beauty product stuff that we use because of that. And like, I mean, we love Pacifica, we're obsessed, but also like PYT and some other brands just like are all like heavy metal free. Like that's just their mantra. And it's good stuff. Like I know a lot of times people think the heavy metals are in there to like make it functional, but I some of the best mascaras I've used are do not have all that crazy stuff in it. So
Exactly. And if you have a hard time finding them, you can go on Amazon just to see the gamut of,
mhm.
what you have to pick from. And a lot of them are third party verified or
Yeah.
good, what is it? Something practice. So they do go that extra mile to get that extra stamp. So you
Yeah. Mhm.
but anyway. Okay. So, and minimizing your overall toxic burden to things like EMFs, indoor air pollution, and other harmful compounds will leave your body better equipped to handle the unavoidable exposures. Enhance your natural detoxification pathways, boost your ability to detox by incorporating things like PEMF, which is your pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which is getting really big right now. I have a little
Mm.
mat. I haven't used it in a while. Um, and infrared saunas, which we've talked
Woo.
about. Yep. And
Shout
detox
out.
binders. So detox binders, be careful with them because some of those contain heavy metals. Like I don't use any clays in me because it's clay. It comes from the earth.
I'm thinking
But
of like a book binder. What the heck is a detox binder? I was like, you put
like
like the book
char
on your head.
no, charcoal,
Oh.
bentonite clay, things like that. There's another one. I forget what diatomaceous earth does, but anyway, binders are great when you have if you're sick and especially if you have food poisoning and stuff.
Mm.
But just be mindful. Sulfur is a great way to get things out, but yeah, you can do charcoal, things like that, but just do your research is what
Mhm.
I'm saying. And just look up detox binders
Yeah.
and just figure it out,
Well, yeah,
do
because I
the
mean, it
research.
makes sense. We just talked about how aluminum is found in like most soil, like it's
Yeah.
super common. So then if you're using clay, that is a type of soil. So, could
Yeah,
be,
that's what I've never had luck with those, but some
yeah.
people, they do. They swear
Okay.
by them. So again, just do your own research and figure out what's good for you.
Mhm.
So this can go a long way in protecting you from the damaging effects of aluminum overload. So all those things we just mentioned. And aluminum free deodorant is like the easiest thing to get your hands on
It's so easy.
nowadays.
Like, you can get the spray, roll,
Yeah.
regular. Pacifica has like it's not like a roll on, but it's just the regular like old fashioned look to it. Well, it's round instead of like the oblong, but it's like sandalwood and smells great. I really like it. I'm using it right now. I have been on a spray kick, but I switched over to the stick because I'm gonna travel. So, yay! But anyways, okay. So we don't want to sound like it's the apocalypse or anything, but let's just really ask ourselves, should we be worried about aluminum, right? So though aluminum can seem scary and toxicity is very real, you're not at the mercy of your environment. You have the power. That's what this whole podcast is based on.
Yes.
You have the power over your own health. Be your own health detective, and with the choices you make on a daily basis, you can affect the outcome. So, you can take the necessary actions by eliminating aluminum as much as you can from your life. It's gonna be there, but you can fight it. So, we'd love for our listeners to let us know how they're eliminating aluminum from their lives. Share your ideas on our social media sites, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We always love hearing from you all, and let me know. Do you agree with me? Are frozen vegetables more delicious than canned vegetables? Well, thanks everyone for listening. And again, we want to hear from you guys. We always want to hear from you guys. Please, please, please reach out to us. And here are just a few ways that you can do that. You can reach out via Instagram and Facebook. Find us at Salty About Health. even Snapchat at Salty Health. You can email us at saltyabouthealth@gmail.com. Or if you just want to find all that in one place, check out our website, saltyabouthealth.com. We've got all the ways for you to listen and connect there. And finally, if you like what you hear today, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. We really appreciate it. So, Mom, if they want to hear from you on social media, where can they find you?
Okay, I am a certified health coach and I do coach one-on-one. So if you're interested, you can contact me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com. I also do research for people who are interested in finding alternative approaches to do in conjunction with the health issue or illness their doctor is treating them for. So again, just reach out to me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com.
And of course, I'll be the one mainly keeping an eye on the social media. So always happy to chat with you guys via the Salty Network. Also, just want to shout out our intro and outro music. It is by Yule, and you can find her at www.yulearts.com. That's EULARTS. You can also find her on Instagram at Yule_arts or Spotify and YouTube. Check her out. Her piano music and everything else is amazing. And until next time, stay salty.
Stay salty.